So I'm not sure how to like open this, except to say I'm not sure how to open this. But welcome back to the studio.
Thank you, love. I mean, I know I said it when I walked in, but like, even just pulling up to the house, I had an immediate sense of like familiarity and comfort, and I feel so warm being here, and just like seeing this space is very surreal. I think about being so fortunate as to where I am now, and how there's no one single thing that gets you to, where you are currently. And this is one of the most important touchstones in like really changing my life in so many ways.
Well, you went through a lot when you were here.
Yeah.
And the one thing I can say is that you never lost your spirit. It didn't break your spirit, because you had some problems. Anyway, welcome Ryan Coates to the studio with no audience. So I've been seeing you all over the internet, just doing the publicity for Chainsaw Man, and I was very unfamiliar with that territory because I'm not into anime or animation.
Yeah. I like the way you say it, anime.
Is that how it's pronounced?
I mean, most people say anime. Some people like to say anime, but I can't be so. I just say anime.
Yeah, I mean, I was just noticing all the publicity that you were doing, and I was like marveling. And then I was mentioning it to different people, not even people that we mutually know, and they were all like jumping out of their skin, like, "Oh my God, you don't understand what that means." And so culturally, this is a really huge thing. It's the #1 movie in the world.
Yeah, pretty surreal. Yeah.
And after you had done, actually was Denji in the whole series.
Yeah.
So, so Denji. So he had to sell his eyes and his eye, his kidney, right?
Quite a few things.
And his leg.
And his the thing you keep between your legs. We'll see, one of those.
Oh, okay, great.
Basically, when you first meet Denji, the easiest way to explain it is you first see him at 16, but what you realize is since he's existed, his mother died really young from an illness. His father was abusive and was in debt to the Yakuza, and had this child that he just like did not take care of. And so his kids had no affection in his life, never went to school, has zero education, has really nothing. And by the time you're meeting him at 16, his father's died, and he has for years now basically been in debt to the Yakuza as like being like, well, your dad's dead, but you still exist. So
is the Yakuza a thing, or is a thing in this?
No, so the Yakuza is a in Japan. It's like essentially the mafia. So it is. So basically, this child, because of his family's debt, is now being used by them, and they're like, you've got two alternatives. You either sell yourself on the street, figure out a way to make money, whatever, or we chop you up and throw you away. And so from 10 years old, with that kind of directive, he's just in survival mode. And when you meet him, he's just had to do whatever he could to make enough money to just keep paying them enough to survive.
And that means like, so what I got is they were actual demons, and he...
Oh, so yes. So the world at large, the way that it works is the concept of devils exist. And the easiest way to explain it is devils are the physical manifestation of any human fear that exists. So you name it, from the most innocuous to the most like primal, devastating, beyond our comprehension of what we're just naturally afraid of, from darkness to, and each of those things, depending on how much fear just collectively exists around it, is how strong that thing is in the world. And so if these things manifest into the world, they can be really troublesome. And so there is a department, it's almost like X-Files or something, where there's a department called the Public Safety Devil Hunters. And they're essentially like a Tarantino movie. They're all suited up, and they're all either humans who have found a way to make deals with devils to utilize abilities, to counteract other things.
Story.
It's wild.
It's so
It's
good.
really wild because it's like they use really complicated ideas and simplify it so that you resonate on a really human level.
They simplify it down to touch the boob.
Well, that's a whole other thing, because again, going back to Denji being homeless,
16.
essentially. 16, never had affection of any form, has never had a friend, never had someone show him kindness, he's never had a hug, like he's never kissed a girl, he's never been told nice things, has no education, doesn't even know how to express the depth of his feelings, but doesn't mean he's not a deep human. And there's this really interesting thing with him where, to himself, he talks about, this desire to be with a girl, because to him that is, it's like this ultimate feeling of being seen. It's not about touching a boob. To him, he has these goals, and in his mind, he will say that, but really, if you break it down, what it means is like, oh, well, if I get to do that, it's connected to a person who values me and sees me and is willing to be intimate with me and treats me like more than an object.
And the movie...
He can't express that, but that's what he's feeling.
But listen, this is very deep stuff for an animation, and the fact that you just launched into like a full profile on him. You're so deeply immersed in him. And you're not 16. You're an adult.
Yeah, but I've been there.
Yeah.
And also, these feelings aren't universal to just being 16. I've been really lucky to travel since the show came out for the last 3 years, doing conventions and very surreal things in itself. But like the amount of people that I speak to at all different ages,
they identify with him,
who really feel connected, male, female, and actually, interestingly enough, the women get him more than a lot of the guys do. Like, the women really understand what he's actually...
Well, empathetic women.
Yes. But a lot of people, I think, read this story, because, you see the name, and you see the imagery, and you're like, I know what this is going to be. Like, it's going to be this crazy thing. And, there's a lot of feral insanity to it, but it's so deep and so sensitive and so much about human survival and self-worth and value and connection, and
I love that,
and it's beautiful. And the weirdest part is that I found it because most anime is built off of source material, like American comic books, like Marvel movies are based off of Marvel comics. Mm-hmm. Manga in Japan is insanely popular and widespread and culturally relevant, and this still is and was a manga. And while I was here taking classes and training and building up my skill sets, I was starting to dip my toes into doing voiceover, and I was finding these little gigs here and there, and I was living in my little shack that was a garage unit behind a house that was...
You're just eradicating all my questions.
Well, we're just getting into it, this I tangent. But I couldn't tell you the last time, even though I was starting to work in anime, in voiceover, I couldn't tell you the last time I really watched a show, and I probably read a manga the last in middle school. So I was approaching all this stuff just as an actor. It wasn't from a place of I love this. I grew up on a lot of it. And
so it was a job initially.
Yes, and I understood it culturally from being a kid, because I grew up with anime, but I didn't want to specifically be a voice actor, and I didn't go I love all this stuff.
You were in this class, which is an in-person class, so it wasn't necessary. Didn't you start in music?
Yeah. I was in a band most of my life. I mean, I started weirdly.
What did you play?
I sang and I played guitar. I mean, I still do, but it's strange.
Has this ripped up your music? No,
well, it happened. It all happened kind of in a very, I guess, organic way. I started, as a kid, as a theater kid, obsessed with film, and this was my first love. But I think we talked about it.
Music?
No, acting and film and all that. I think we talked about it when I first met you years ago. But I was like, the reason I avoided it for so many years and got into music was because at the time growing up, anybody who skewed Arab, you had one job. And it was you had a bomb strapped to your chest or something like that. And even though I couldn't express it, I felt it. And so I just felt like there wasn't a place for me to really do what I wanted. And that led me into music, because I was here I can create and have control and figure it out. And so, 15 plus years or whatever go by, and we move out here.
Your whole family moved out here?
No, the band.
Oh, the band.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which, is a family in itself, but we moved out here together, and it was 2015, and we did a couple of years, and we we'd been doing it for so long before that, and we just got to this point where, I mean, I was working 2 jobs, and then we'd like have band practice at like 9 p.m. and we were all exhausted and miserable, and it just gets to a point where, or at least for us, it stopped being fun. It's like being in a relationship where like you don't realize you're already not in the good part of it, you have to get out of it, but you're just like in it.
Yeah.
And so we were going through the motions, and we didn't realize that like instead of having fun, we were all trying to now solve the problem, which is not how you make any art and not how you actually succeed. So we started to really just kind of fester and resent each other, and it sucks because we're best friends. Thankfully,
are you still friends with him?
Yes, because we were like, we got to break up the band to save the family. Like we're gonna kill each other, And so we did, and literally at the breakup like lunch that we had, they're my brothers, so they were like, "What are you gonna do?" And a switch went off in my body, and I was like, I think I'm supposed to be acting.
Wow, did you say it like that?
Yeah, because I knew, I avoided it.
Yeah. I mean, listen, when we avoid things, we know it, and we go through a period of denial where we just don't even pay any attention to it.
No, yeah.
And it becomes like dust almost.
Yes.
And then one day, like, we're like overwhelmed with this, I need to get back to this.
Yeah, it was like a clarity moment, and it was so weird because I feel like part of it was I knew while in the band, I was so married financially, emotionally, creatively, everything. Like, it wasn't like I had the space or time to be like, I'm going to carve out this for me, because it's such an all-consuming thing if you're going to do it. And
it's teamwork.
So I told them, and they were like, it was so funny because in unison,
they were all relieved.
They were like, yeah, no shit. But what are you going to do for money? And I was like, I don't know.
Are you making money with the band?
No. I mean, of course not. Of course, all 3 cameras, of course not. Which is, I think, part of why we felt like we were trying to solve a problem, because no matter what you do, it doesn't matter how many people be like, we like what you're doing. Like, if people aren't buying your music, or if you're not making it work,
and
you're not making it work.
It's hard. It's like it is like a bad marriage. I mean, you got the kids and
so many things.
You don't know what to give up.
Yeah,
and it's a habit, and you're used to it. So how did you find me? Like, I don't remember how you found the studio. I'm trying to remember
because I don't think it was through a recommendation. I think I was. Because I do remember going through a period of like auditing tons of different acting classes.
Oh, really?
Because I was just looking into everything, and I saw, there's classes all over different parts of the city, and I realized, I was like, oh, a lot of these let you take the first class for free and like just kind of get a tester of it. So I would go in, and every teacher has their process and their method, or their energy, or the room feels a certain way, or everyone else in the class feels a certain way, and I'm very sensitive to energy, and I'm very honed in on a lot of that stuff, for better or worse. But I knew that if I was going to grow and really get to do this and take it seriously, I had to find a space that I could be challenged and also get to collaborate in the way that I was so used to from being in a band. And I'm not, even though this job inherently there's a competitive level to it, I don't see this as a competitive thing. Yeah, it's a collaborative thing. Like, you don't try to win a scene. Like you're using each other and creating a thing together, and like every part of it, especially with voiceover
but
too.
You're also very independent. I mean, when I listen, I have a lot of friends I came from the music world too. Not that I played or that I sang, except in karaoke, but I worked in nightclubs and stuff like that, and I used to book bands for those nightclubs, and I remember thinking, like, a couple of my friends were breaking free from their bands because like one guy was the drummer and it was his band, but the singer was like a drunk nightmare.
Something.
And it's kind of like it allowed him to say, I'm the artist, I'm in charge of myself, it's my audition. Collaborate with people when you're together, but know that it's like you're really on your own, but you're also like, it empowers you.
It was very liberating. I think that was something that I immediately realized that I struggled with in the band, that I felt comfortable with doing this, is that in the band I felt like we needed to have an identity. We needed to have you need a name, you need a thing, there's like an aesthetic, a whole, and I've never felt like, I'm too like tangential and mercurial. I never feel like just one thing, and that's never just going to, I don't like being defined by like an idea. And I think the cool thing about being an actor that I love so much is every job you're a different thing, whatever, it's always changing, but at the end of the day, when it comes to doing this kind of stuff, whatever, I get to be me, and I don't have to make it a thing, and warts and all, for better or worse, there's going to be people who like you and people who don't, but I don't have to have a persona.
So with all these classes that you audited, why did you choose? You don't remember how you found it?
I don't remember. I'm sure it was online.
Do you remember the audit?
I don't remember the first class here necessarily, because I think it just became, like, I think I took the first thing and was like, I'm in, like, I'm down to do this. But
I always wonder why anybody isn't once they audit.
Well, no, because it really was, because I feel
it's about you guys. When you guys come into, when a new person comes into the room and they experience all of you, it's like, how can they not be interested in working with those people? I take myself out of the equation.
No, that's the thing is, I mean, the class really, I think also it was the East Coast energy that I vibed with right away. I was like, oh, okay,
Where did you grow up? You grew up
in New York,
Where though?
In New York City, all over, and on the island as well, and my dad's in Brooklyn, and the whole thing.
Did they grow up? Are you first generation? Or?
My mom is from New York. My dad is from Iraq, from Baghdad. But he's been in New York since he was a kid too. So, but I think I've always felt comfortable around East Coast energy, because I knew that you were going to be like attentive and aware, but you were going to call out bullshit, which is like really all I want.
I'm the best bullshit detector.
That's all I want. That's all I want is like to make this. It's all performance, but like I want to find it's. Whether or not people think it's bullshit or not, like the truth of what you can in this.
Well,
stuff,
I don't listen. I don't subscribe to that. Like anybody who says that like actors are just bullshitters, I don't believe it, because I think that acting is just telling the truth, but with different words. And when you say that you can be yourself in it, I encourage that even within the work with. Certain forms of costuming.
It's about being true to also what the character needs, right, and what the intention of the thing is. I will tell you something I very, very vividly remember is after starting to take the class here and like really falling in love with everybody and you and feeling really comfortable to fail and throw myself at ideas and just try whatever, and like I knew that you were always going to like, because you were equally as good at praising things when they were interesting, or if somebody made a choice or whatever, as much as you were calling them out, and you can do it in the same scene, I love that. And I remember workshopping, was it 4 Rooms, is that the play?
4 Dogs and a Bone?
No, it was the guy traveling around to different hotels, getting married.
No, it's called Some Girls.
Yes, yeah.
It's Neil LaBute.
Yes. Oh man. So I remember doing a scene from that, and it was like maybe like a 15-page scene or something. And my scene partner Allie at the time, we workshopped it over a few weeks, and I remember, you do it in pieces, and like you're performing it for the same people. And we got to the point where we finally got to doing the whole thing, and I remember like almost like blacking out doing it, where like I know I was there, but I like
you arrived.
And I remember, because we had done plenty, you were giving us notes, this and that, and I remember the only thing that, like, took me out of it was we, like, finished the scene, and people were, like, actually, like, gasping or crying and doing, and I was like, we've done this before, like, so it really, it was a moment of, like, oh, I feel like I feel connected to this in a way that I hadn't in a long time.
Well, that's the freshness that I want to give people an opportunity in here. Like, I mean, again, it's like theater. You can go to the theater on one night, and the same person can be like, oh, it was great this night, it wasn't great this night. And it could be the same people are opposite feeling, because they experience it differently, because it's happening in the moment.
It's so alive.
If you're doing it right.
Yeah.
It's like literally happening new each time.
Yeah.
And that's why I can watch from my seat, I can watch the same scene over and over and over again. I thoroughly believe in long-term scene study. I just believe in it because I think it gives you the ultimate experience. It helps you layer, and yes, that blacking out thing, when that happens,
it's magic. It's crazy.
Magic.
Yeah.
And the thing that I always tell people, like if you, I'm amazed actually now that I'm on Zoom classes that
you can see that too.
No, but I tell people just watch the tape, because I record it.
Oh, interesting.
And here, they can't watch the tape, and now I kind of have an awareness, like, how do you guys take in my notes right after you're done with a scene if you're really in it? And I realize I probably can't, and yet, with me, when I was acting, I would get to the point where the note was given to me. I never wrote anything down, but I was like, when we would rehearse again, I'm like, this is the part where I have to do this fix. And in general, I always tell people, like, if you get black out in the scene, like 2 hours later, it'll all start coming back. And you can review the scene. You can run it in your mind and review it, and it becomes. I just think it's the only thing that lends itself to what the real world is like, even though you don't get to do it over and over and over again unless you're doing theater.
Truly.
Because it gives you, like for me, I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't expect people to sort of get out there and do it on their own, because what I'm trying to do is to make you independent thinking and collaborative. And I actually, at this point now, I've kind of labeled the improv as being, believe it or not, script analysis, when there actually is no script. Because it allows you to see, like, something happened here, and if you're really listening and paying attention, it's the thing that affects this coming later, and you've got to refer back to that. I feel like you got so, that's one of my questions. I was like, what, where is that?
I've screwed up the whole...
Yeah, you just messed it up. Well, I started out with, I know you haven't grown up yet, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And a
fireman.
No, but like, because Denji's a child, and it's like you're going back in time and reliving. And I think ultimately that animation, or even playing a character like this, is like messing with your inner child, and that's really healthy, actually, because people need, in therapy, that's the first thing they go back to, is like, connect with your inner child. So do you think this has been a purging and cleansing journey for you?
It is, for better or worse, crazy, the similarities and like the irony of how much I actually really resonate with Denji on so many levels that
and you get to go back and fix some of his mistakes, some of your mistakes, almost.
To some degree. I mean, I think it's or at least
deal with them without consequences in the real world.
At least really kind of, there's a catharsis for sure. Yes. There's a self-awareness, there's a lot, but also it's that weird thing where you have to also put yourself in the emotional space of what he needs to be feeling, and you can't come at it from the point of like you understanding it. You have to put yourself...
Yes, you have to come from it. He doesn't understand what's going on. No. Like, you've got to live it for the first time, and people have to believe that.
And I know Denji's feelings very well, and it's not hard to tap into that stuff, because so much of it is like coming from a very like primal place. And to go back quickly, when I first found the manga, it was a very strange thing, because, like I said, I hadn't read it.
What do you mean when you found the manga? So what I was actually going to ask is, like, what led you to voiceover, like the voice acting
in general
community? Well, yeah, because you were here, and I remember you started getting little jobs.
Yeah.
And then it just... Like,
it was very strange. I mean, it
was unexpected, and you were like, oh, I got this thing, and you took it because... At the time, I mean, you were live action acting.
I can tell you the layers of actually, weirdly, there's pieces directly from this class to how it has changed my life.
I would love to hear that, because, certain things happen, and I don't think people necessarily can trace it back, but it would be good in script analysis if they understood the origin of
I can see
things.
all the beats of how this led to this, led to this, led to this, and like there's still obviously countless other days and hours and things that go into it, but taking this class, someone that I became really close with was Talon.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know his family, didn't put any of that together. We were just good buddies, and we were great in scenes together, and we just really got along. And one day in class, he was like, hey, I'm working on this short film, and I would love for you to be in it with me. And I
remember that. It was Matt Atch also was...
Yeah, uh-huh. And so I was, at that time, I was starting to get little gigs, like here and there, little commercial, whatever. I was doing a lot of extra work. I was doing anything I could to just be on set and learn and grow. I didn't care. When we were in holding, I was studying the play. It was,
doing extra work gives you a lot of time to work on your acting.
Yeah, I was constantly, I never took a moment where I wasn't taking something in, and so I agree gratefully to do this thing, and it was like a table read weekend, a rehearsal weekend, and then a shooting weekend. So the table read weekend, I got to meet our director, who has now become family to me, a gentleman by the name of David Sobolov, who Meisner trained actor, has been doing things forever, but for the last 20 plus years has been a very successful voice actor. Even though I've been playing video games my whole life and I've watched cartoons and stuff, I was obsessed with film. So like, I'm like, Philip Seymour Hoffman's my guy. Like, I have my people, but I never paid attention to who voice actors were outside of like Kevin Conroy, because he was my Batman. He was everyone's Batman, And so David, turns out he voiced a bunch of stuff from my childhood and all these funny things, but he was just this really sensitive, wonderful guy. He was a great director. It was a really, the subject matter was like really difficult and like not like a comfortable kind of thing. It was a really heavy thing, and I had a really heavy part. And
in this thing with talent.
Yeah, and we did it all, and after we finished shooting on the final weekend, we had all become pretty close, and David was like, "Do you do voiceover? Because like you're a really good actor." And I was like, "I don't have a demo reel, and I know that." Just like anything, I'm not going to just start throwing myself. I want to approach any of this stuff professionally. And he's like, well, I produce those. And I was like, well, I'm broke. And he's like, well, I'll give you a friend rate. So he was very generous with his time and energy, and I made this demo with him. And where I live in North Hollywood, I was bike riding all these different places throughout my days, and I'm like, there's a lot of recording studios around here. I wonder if they have emails like that I can look up. So
that was resourceful.
Just go on. I mean, this is all I've ever done, is like I take everything into my own hands, and I mean, the internet is the greatest tool you have. You can ask it any dumb question, and it's like you kind of just go with the breadcrumbs. And so I just started looking up any studio I could find that was related to voiceover or dubbing or anything like that in the area. And I just started blindly emailing them with my resume of what I've done on camera and whatever bits, your class, all this stuff.
Listen, that's the way actors in general, when in my day, when we had to find an agent, we had to send out 200 in paper mailers with a stamp and put it out there. And now nobody, like when I sit down and do consultations with people, they're like it's like they expect the agent to come out of the sky and show up for them.
No, it is so much.
Part of that mentality is the band mentality to pushing out like
we
doing shows and
flyers,
stuff like that.
Everything. It's that grassroots thing that I was just I never expected someone to help me, and I also didn't want anybody else to define what I was going to do. So I emailed these things. I emailed the demo reel, and I'm like, I probably just blacklisted myself, like, because I don't know how any of this works.
Why?
Because I'm just blindly emailing these people, and they're probably like, delete that shit,
With the demo?
Yeah. But I don't know. I didn't have representation. I don't know how anything worked. I was just throwing stuff at the wall, and within weeks they all got back to me, and some were sending me auditions. Some just brought me in for stuff, and it was the summer of 2019. I just started working, and I just kept getting opportunities.
I always say, I use this analogy like popcorn. Getting acting jobs is like popcorn. Once the first kernel pops, it's like pop, 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 pop. And you're the poster child for that, because literally, I have something here like, speak on the explosion of that. You're speaking on it, and it makes sense. But can you go back to when you were here?
Yeah.
What was the initial hardship that took you out of here? The flood in your apartment?
Because I was, after the band broke up, but before the band broke up, and because in the same week that the band split up, I also got laid off from my job, which...
and then you started acting class.
They liquidated our whole department on a Friday.
What kind of job was it?
I was a studio PA at a stop motion studio. I was human furniture, go run to Home Depot and I was just, my body and soul were being just crushed and thrown. And
I know a few people who know what that feels like.
Oh, I mean, so many do, right? It's not a unique thing, but it's the kind of thing that I was like, I got to get myself out. I have to somehow. And I mean, I use the word. And even though it
took you a long time, someone will watch this and they'll do it faster.
I hope so.
Because they'll understand like the pivot that you made when you sat at lunch with your friends and you decided to, tell them. You broke it to them, and it was like they were all relieved. The pivot, and then the doors open. Close the door, open a window. And some people, it's just frightening. It's really, really frightening.
Well, and there's no, even after that, keep in mind, summer of 2019. So for a couple of months, I'm going into studios. I'm like, this is awesome.
And then COVID hit.
And at first, everything is just the world doesn't know what to do with this. Thankfully, out of all of the things, if I was still in the band, we'd have been screwed.
Yes.
If I was strictly doing on camera, would have been screwed. But weirdly, voiceover was like, we're going to figure this out. Now, before this, dubbing, video games, none of this stuff was done remotely. The only kind of remote voiceover was some guy who's been doing it forever, who's got a home studio, who does like the commercial stuff or what. Like, it's a very singular avenue, and most people didn't have home studios. So
now everybody does,
because literally this thing changed where like we would get on these giant Zoom calls with producers, engineers, directors, tons of actors, and like strategize, okay, if we're going to even try to make this work, actors, these are the kind of microphones that are going to be quality level. You're going to have to soundproof your closet or build a booth or whatever. So regardless of...
You were already there, kind of.
Well, no. So, like, because I was so used to going into studios, my home setup was garbage. I was just like, I had to think that, because I couldn't afford anything, you know. Yeah. I was like, and when you're working, you know, you do a gig, you don't get paid that day. You get paid like a month from then.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how many gigs I had, or like, paychecks were coming in when they'd come in, and I was like, you know, I would be so late on rent so often, and like, but I was living in a garage. I didn't, you know.
They paid me for class.
That's what I was putting my money towards. Wow. I wasn't eating. I was like, there was so much I wasn't doing because I was like, this is what I need to spend it on. And not that I advise that to people. And like you said, someone's going to do it faster. I fucking hope so, because I don't want people to have to go through that. My apartment flooded, destroyed everything I had. Within that same night, I had like wet vac'd it all out, and I just had a bunch of fans blowing at the wall, and I had one of those like fold out beds, and I just remember lying there being like, I'm not going back to New York. You know, like I couldn't. And then 2 days later, someone destroyed my car.
I remember that too.
So you know,
I liked it, but nothing broke your spirit. Your work ethic was really...
I took it as a challenge. Yeah. I take that stuff and I'm like, oh, the universe wants to know how bad I want it.
Listen, people that go through shit like that, they're not fun to be around. you were lovely. You were really pleasant to be around. I mean, that's the thing is I felt like nothing broke your spirit, and then I didn't see you after that, and I was concerned, but I started seeing things were happening for you, and I'm like, okay. I mean, would you ever consider coming back?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I miss it. I still, I mean, like I told you before we started shooting, you know, the most common thing I'm asked about by, like, an average person, if they find out what I do, or people at the convention, I mean, it doesn't matter how many people come up, the number is like insane with how do I become a voice actor? How do I get into acting? I want to do, and it's amazing, one, how many people are asking me instead of Google.
Well, they learned it from the horse's mouth.
Right.
I don't do anything without personal recommendation.
But what I think people want usually when they ask this question is like...
They want your magic.
Here's the email. Like, here's the magic. Like, oh, we all know this one secret. Here you go. And the first thing I ask them is, are you in an acting class? Are you training? Have you studied any? Are you curious about like the actual thing, or I think what most people want is to just be at the convention on the other side of the table a lot of the time.
Yeah,
which is exciting.
Course.
But like, it's weird that the most important part, the part that is the most fun, the parts that the most rewarding, the reason to do it, that's the thing a lot of people are overlooking when they're asking how to do it.
I know, and it's very sad. Listen, first of all, I believe that voiceover acting requires actually real acting chops to do it the way that you're doing it, where the spirit and the soul of the camera comes through.
It's a very interesting, like...
But what are the, like, when I watched Mrs. Doubtfire and I saw Robin Williams, I was like, you're just putting your body into it and doing this.
Yeah.
And it's like, the voice is unrecognizable, but the soul of the character is there. I mean, I got a glimpse of enough of that in my lack of anime cool. watching, and I was like, wow, that's Ryan. And
that's so cool. That's really cool. It's a weird gig because you do, like, I still perform as if there's a camera on me, but you also have to worry about mic radius, and also you can only move so much or do so much. But I mean, yeah, if you watch me, my face is all over the place. Like, I'm very physical, and I think everyone has their own approach. But what's so interesting about the process that I think you are a direct, like, resource and asset to me being able to do this is, like, the amount of stuff that we workshopped here and the amount of stuff that you beat in with intention and character awareness and, like, studying the subtext and all of that kind of stuff. You know, when you go into a voiceover session...
You need it more.
Well, yeah, because you know, when you're on camera, you've already got the script, you've read it, hopefully dozens of fucking times. You know, you've maybe had a rehearsal, you've talked about the character, you've broken it, you've had time to think about it. When I'm going in for a project, unless I've read the thing, by luck, most of the time, you're just walking in there like, here's your character, here's the script, here's the story, here's where you are, and we've got 2 hours, let's go. And you have to, you know, you'll preview a moment or you'll talk about a thing for a second, and then you have to just turn that on. And that's a weird, like, you know, switch that you need to be able to do, and I would not be able to do that had I not, like, built up the training for it.
I appreciate that. Listen, tell your people that I have an online Zoom program.
Yes, I will.
It is actually outstanding. I would say there's
That's my bad for not realizing that you have
Yeah, I mean, there's a few students. First of all, I work all over the world.
Yeah.
I have somebody from Australia, somebody from Canada,
That's so
and
cool.
all over the United States. And a lot of people who went directly into my Zoom classes. I think that was one of the only benefits of COVID and the lockdown and everything, because I think it's also made people crazy, and there's people like losing their minds in general. But the ones that aren't, the ones that are dialed in, the ones that want to stay on purpose, jumped into the class because they knew that,
well, it gives you purpose.
Eventually it would be out of this, even if it was only supposed to be a few weeks.
Yeah.
But there were some people that benefited greatly, more so with the Zoom, because they were able to reflect on, oh my God, they're seeing what they're doing in class.
Yeah, that's a very interesting.
But I conduct those classes exactly the way I conduct my in-person classes.
You know, did you know Jasmine? Were you in class with Jasmine?
Jasmine told me in our interview that, which I never knew because she's a big social media person, really also started with music, and she said that she audited my class in person. And then when lockdowns happened, and then she heard I was online, she was like, "Oh, I'll do that." And she said to me, because I was really nervous, and if I was online at home, then I was safe.
Oh, interesting.
I thought that was really interesting because she's such an outgoing, comfortable person. I would never have thought that she would have been self-conscious about it, and it was an admission that she made. And she said, "If it's weird, at least I'm home."
That's interesting. It's funny. It's actually something I tell a lot of people when I talk about acting classes, is I suggest it even to people who don't want to be actors, because I think one of the benefits of coming in person to a class is it gets you out of that comfort zone and gets you more confident in yourself and your body and your...
Listen, whatever gets them here, you know? Whatever gets them here.
But I mean, like, I think the benefit of doing it online is, like, it removes, like, that layer and gets people one step closer to being more comfortable in themselves.
Yes, they are, but they're still pushing out of their comfort zone, and what they get is a video so that they can look at it after and be like, I'm not that bad.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people are judging their performances. They feel certain things, which they should be feeling. They should be experiencing these things, and then they kind of project that negativity onto themselves, and they're actually performing.
Yeah.
And it's truthful to them.
Yeah, yeah.
So the last thing, since you never let me use any of my questions,
just like
at the time that you were here, because I don't know if this is post-reflection, did you understand at the time the significance of your work here? At the time?
I knew.
You just enjoyed it.
I knew it was. I knew it was just so valuable to me, and I knew that I was so filled by it, and I knew that I was challenged by it, and I was excited about it, and I was nervous about it, and I was like, I mean, there were plenty of times I'd come into class, like, I'm like, my brain's not working today. I'm going to fail in improv. And I was like, oh, whatever. You know, like, it just was so, I never felt bad being here. I loved being here. And it gave me so much confidence to just make choices and feel, you know.
We'd love to have you back.
I would love to come back. I need to make my life make more sense now. Because the great privilege of all of this is how much it has given me so many other kinds of opportunities, whether it's jobs or traveling, and we didn't really get to talk much about how I do want to get back on camera, and it's still so much of my deep love. It's just all acting for me is all the same thing in a different form of, you know, it's like
it can be very pure.
Yeah.
You know, people talk about Hollywood and, it's, you know.
Look, the whole thing, the entertainment industry is a mess no matter what, but whether it's music or acting or anything that, like, I know this since I was a child, that it is beyond my choice. It is a compulsion, and regardless of the things that I may not like about parts of this industry, like, that's not what I'm focusing on, and that's not what I'm putting my energy.
For me, this is very pure.
Yeah.
Very, very pure. And I know that the art form is necessary. We'll always need to watch and listen and see things. And we can just choose the path of whether or not we want to be doing it with the right people.
Well, community.
Vet your community, and include people that resonate with you in the same way. And I'm so thrilled and grateful that you found a path and that it's lucrative so that you can live the life you want to live.
Yeah.
Because I know that you struggled and it broke my heart. All my students, they when I connect with them, I feel great empathy for what they're dealing with, but I have I'm proud of them, and I feel that it's my job to just keep encouraging them.
Well, you help us find our way. That's what it is, It's everyone's path is their own individual journey no matter what, but it's the people that see you and value you and let you experience things in a safe space that help you grow and find yourself. So, none of this would exist for me if it wasn't for you. So, I love you and I'm grateful.
I love you too, and I'm grateful.
Let me start crying, okay.
I know, we're both crying right now. Like, for real.
Yeah. No, it means a lot. I mean, my life is completely different, and it's not something I ever really could have seen coming, and, it's such a weird thing to do this as a job, or I always tell people it's a lifestyle first. If you're lucky, it's a job. If you're really fucking lucky, it's a career. And I still, with everything now, I'm like, it can go away tomorrow. There is nothing guaranteed to me. I don't expect anything. It is, you're still singing for your supper. You're still trying to stretch yourself and do something else, or you still get pigeonholed. You still get, typecast, whatever it is. And it's exciting to be in a place where I can be so grateful and get to work on things I love, but also I am nowhere near satiated. I'm still hungry.
Yeah, no matter how big how many people think you're successful, it's like, oh, I just want more, and it's not a selfish thing. It's like because what we're doing is we're giving to people.
Well, and people give back so much too, but it's like I love creating. I love making stuff. I love doing things with people and collaborating, and I'm never going to get tired of that, and everything is a new, you don't know what's coming up next. Aquarius.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So we're weirdos, man.
Yeah. I saw a video the other day, and what was it? Crossing the street in zodiac signs.
Oh, I did see that.
And the Aquarian was rolling on the cross.
I remember specifically watching this video because it took a really long time. He waited to give Aquarius.
They put it last.
I was like, okay, I see what you're doing there. I'll take that. Yeah.
Ryan, I adore you. I'm so honored that you came in and did this interview with me, because I know you're in demand right now. And
oh my God!
Congratulations, and keep the momentum going. And I gotta hug you.
I love you. Thank you. This was lovely.